Hello. So we have a very brief update, and we being Tamaki, who's been also doing the tutoring for the FASS3999 pilot in the first semester. I've been doing it in the second semester. And one of the students from the second semester pilot, Min, she was nice enough to come here today to talk to you about her experience. So seeing as we're running a bit behind, we might just leave most of the time for Q&A, so we can talk a bit about the experience, what it meant, what the student experience of it was. I had invited more students, but Min was nice enough to show up. The rest might be studiously at work doing their papers and whatnot. Understand everything is being shared through the SharePoint.
Exactly.
So we have a slide that, for instance, here gives you a bit of an idea what's going on in 2019. This is one of the still images from the lecture that was going on. Different lectures coming in, not every week because it's not taking place every week, but most of the time you have a different lecturer, and the structure is it's a lecture and a 2-hour workshop. So as you can see here, it's also going to take place Mondays and Fridays. So it would be FASS3999 is that at the moment, but next year it's also going to be 3999 rolled over into your course code. So it would be Japanese 3999, it would be ICLS 3999, it might be always 3999, but so it's about 15 different course codes, but it's still the same units. Yeah? So it's...
Can I just say there, I should have perhaps introduced that Nina is lucky enough to be the SLC coordinator for the 3999 units from 2019. So she will be your go-to person. We're lucky because in SLC we've got two of the main teachers from the unit, and you guys have been involved in creating as well, all the way through. And then we have Nina as well. So we're very well served in SLC. And you can see how lucky Nina feels about all the curious.
Yeah, for the next slide. But sorry, to give it just a quick idea, because a couple of housekeeping issues with that one. So this will be mandatory for every third-year students in FASS, and it's going to be a pool of students from all over FASS. So not just SLC, but SLC students with other schools all in there. You're supposed to block out the course times for next year. So semester 1, it's going to be Mondays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lecture, workshop, and the second stream is every Friday, same time. And for these times, we're asked to relay the information, not to have any other third-year units take place. Otherwise, we have a clash all over the place. As you can see, 6 schools from FASS, all the students will take it at the same time. So next year, we're talking about 400 students, 300 or so?
Across the whole year.
Across the whole faculty, and most of them coming from SLC for next year. We don't really know why at this point, but it looks to be the biggest cohort. Just very quickly, Tamaki.
Well, one thing to keep in mind about that is technically they're only supposed to be taking this unit in the third year, but we actually, in the SLC, we have the situation where a lot of students start off with 3000 level units in their language. So this is something we're still trying to sort out at the moment.
So you mean you might get first-year students?
Well, this is what we're worried about,
right.
Because, yeah, technically it's just if you're eligible to take third-year units, that's when you're eligible to take this unit.
Yeah, so there's most likely going to be a couple of issues with that for the next year, so that's also coming our way, definitely with that. And also a matter of clashes, so there's going to be a very strict attendance policy implemented in that, the 90% plus attendance policy. So that's also going to be one thing about the scheduling, and that's going to be of importance. Just very quickly for the unit assessment, so this course is designed to teach interdisciplinary impact skills. So this was, Min will talk to you a bit about that and about the project that they were working on. But as you can see, it's about 2 major components: individual reflections. So students are asked individually to reflect on the theory and the discussions used in the lectures and the workshops. And then they're also asked to prepare a group presentation. So it's about 5 students per group and 25 students per workshop. So we're talking 5 groups per workshop. And also next year, a lot of these workshops will take place at the same time in parallel streams, and we're going to host a couple of them at the library. So one level of the library for 1 week might just be FASS or 3999 students to work with other student groups in unison. So this is a massive, I think, logistic enterprise going to take place next year. The collaborative collaborative group work is based on case studies. So for the pilot, we only had four case studies. So right now, more case studies are being designed and implemented. And as you can see, this is all revolving around Westmead, the Westmead Hospital precinct, until up to 2021, I was told. And then it might be open up to other, areas or contexts. And I don't know if Tomek wants to say something.
About the case studies? Not really.
Because I think that's most of the information we have at the moment we're relaying here, and the rest is, as we just said, being developed.
What about the SLC case study?
In a moment, I'm going to say, but as you can see here, that's the assessment as we did it in the pilot, and when you share, use it through the SharePoint, you can zoom in, but as you can see here, not huge pieces of assessment, they're strategically set throughout the term. So at the beginning, it's an individual reflection paper on one of the key theory moments in the unit being used, the LCT theory. Then it's the group presentation, and the group had been marked as a group but also individually, so it was out of 30, 20 points for the group, 10 points for the individual contribution, and then a reflection paper which was due a couple of days ago, and it's being marked at the moment, where students reflect about the collective experience of the interdisciplinary collaboration. And just to say that again, it's not about the disciplinary background, it's really about what the students can do with the disciplinary background when it's about the case study and working on it. Just to make that clear. Right now, we're developing a case study for SLC, and this has to do with the healthcare interpreter services offered at the Westmead precinct. I was there yesterday interviewing Anna Kenny, who is the PD coordinator at Westmead Sydney Local Health for Interpreters and Translation Services, about 4 or 5 hours. It was an amazing interview with her, amazing person, and we're still working on the details of that. As soon as I have something, a draft, I'm going to send it out for input from the rest of the school. But just so you get an idea, really trying to make it so that the schools have input and that we have something that the students can really relate to and use the disciplinary context and expertise a bit more readily for.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's important to emphasize that it's not like there's a case study for each school or something like that. So they're all supposed to be interdisciplinary, and so yeah, this is something that we're contributing, but it needs to be broad enough and general enough for anyone from any school in FASS to participate in.
Because we're aware we are not the ICPU units, and we are kind of competing with them in a sense, but in a sense we're not. And if you see 3998, that's the ICPU code. So please don't tell your students that's 3999, because it's obviously not.
But it does depend on what major it is, because if your students are doing 2 majors, their primary major is coded in your language, and their secondary major is coded in there, and that will be 3998.
Yep.
So their secondary major will be the ICP unit. So you're not going to, we might not know whether our students are doing. And
I put that to the working group, and it's been highlighted with the Dean's office, so just hopefully can sort this out.
But the idea is that you do FASS 3999 for your first major, and then the ICP.
But it's still. So just a quick word on coordination. So the new structure for this is going to be one interdisciplinary coordinator, which is going to be at the associate dean level, like kind of a higher position, full-time person, and that person is going to run all of FASS as the coordinator for that. Then we have 6 school coordinators. So Nina is one of those 6 coordinators. She is the SLC coordinator, and then the different unit instructors. So Tamaki and I, for instance, will be doing that as well. And with that, we might just hand it over to Min, if you would like to quickly introduce yourself, maybe, and if we have a couple of questions.
Okay, so my name is Min-Shin Chen, just call me Min, and I'm an economics student. I also did a little bit of Japanese, so I can see my Japanese teacher here. This unit was not compulsory for me this year yet, but I'm really glad I chose to apply for this unit, because as almost a final year student, I was very anxious about the balance of looking for job, like career-related thing and things I learned in university. Because when I was in university, I used to focus a lot on the theories on like the languages that I learned, the economic theories that I learned, how can I achieve better marks. But when it comes to last year, I have to start thinking about how to find a job that I like and things like that. And sometimes I find that I couldn't connect these two things together. But this unit is the one that acts as a bridge. It gives me a glance at what I can potentially integrate what I learned in university and what I want to do in the future for my careers together. And it also released my anxiety because I know I can do things. And through all the collaborations and the tasks we do in the unit, we learn to work in a case study. No matter what that is, we found that there are something that each of our discipline can contribute to. And I think that is one of the most important thing I learned in this unit. Yes,
And if you could just quickly tell the audience what your case study was, it was brilliant in your group, and could you just quickly say?
So in my case study, we chose the line of doing a children's hospital, and we focus on improving the visitors' experience in the hospital. We try to first think about what are some potential problems that are existing now, from booking to visit a doctor to actual visit, and if the kids and the parents have to stay in the hospital for a longer time, how can we potentially increase their experience? And we have students from the field of psychology, from music, and I'm from economics, and we also have students from
International relations.
International relations, yep. And also film studies. So we could start from many aspects to solve one problem together. That is good. And also we had, because when I was in School of Economics, we usually think in a very same logic. Every student have the same way of solving problems, but now we were able to integrate other people's thoughts and to create a more complete resolution for a problem. And our final product as a presentation, we used a timeline of visitors. So when they when they make a reservation, what can we do? Can we use an app? Can we improve the call services? And then when they actually make the booking, when they go to the hospital, when they're sitting in the waiting room and they're bored, how can we improve the experience when people are waiting in the waiting room? And also about when kids are staying longer time in the hospital, how can we improve the parents' life in the hospital? How can we solve the sibling schooling problem? And how can we think about what are the children going to do when they get out of the hospital, because they're staying in there for a really long time and maybe feel isolated from the outside world. So that's how we discuss about all the problems. And I really like the point that we didn't have to find an actual solution, but the more important thing is we focus on the process of studying the case study. And I think that is a very important thing in the university, because we're about to go into the society, and we are always worrying about what if I can't really think of something concrete that helps to solve an actual problem in the real world. But through the unit, I know that this is not the very most important thing. The most important thing is that we can always think about something to improve the world and to improve the situation. And I think that's why I really like this unit.
Thank you very much. So that's just,
I don't think you'll have any trouble finding a job.
Yeah, currently, yeah.
Can we create a job for her?
Thank you.
Can I just ask, are you also a languages major? Are you majoring in Japanese as well, or was it?
It's not a major. I used to want to major in it, but because I went to exchange and I don't have much space left for the major. Yeah.
But did you contribute anything to the case study, with your language skills, or was it mostly your economics?
I used both. I majorly use economics, but there was one slide of our presentation where we were trying to look at the problem of parents having difficulty finding healthy food in the hospital. And it happened to me that when I was doing my exchange in Japan, I paid a little bit of attention to the cafeterias they have in the hospital. And there was this case that I showed the class. It's a cafeteria in one of the hospital in Osaka, Japan, that is really attractive and cheap and pretty. They serve pretty and healthy food at the same time, and people actually get attracted by the hospital's cafeteria and visit them as well. So I think, yeah, that
So it
is.
was about the cultural expertise of the
Yes.
students. We had an Indonesian studies major, and she also brought a lot of, and she had double majored in music and Indonesian studies. So she
Yeah.
was all about the visual design of things and also the musicology behind it. And it was not supposed to be 5 minutes of a music major giving their take, 5 minutes of me as an economist, but it was really about the synergy between everything that made it, in that case, really work well.
Yep. And I think also in the University of Sydney, because we have a lot of multicultural students as well, so the cultural aspect also helped a lot and make us realize that the multicultural background of ourselves is actually useful in the society and in the cause as well.
Any
Other
questions?
questions?
Yes. Who will be teaching the lectures? What kinds of people? Who? Like,
So Nina, for instance, is going to give a couple of lectures.
so she'll do one or all of them?
Who's
Or?
giving the lectures is the question.
I don't know. I know that I have to do two. That's all I can do.
So a variety of people.
Partly the coordinators will take some lectures, and I imagine Michael Anderson is still there for a semester. Otherwise, he has been coordinating the unit for the past year. I think he does lecture as well, doesn't he?
And once we've done all the evaluation of the data from the second pilot, and a couple of refinements are taking place for the lectures as well. Some might be online only, some might be still in person in class. So once that's being cleared, and then the schedule of that will be sent around as well. Other questions?
All right, thank you very much, Ming. It was so kind of you coming along in your SWAT van. All the best for your end of semester task. And thank you to Tamaki and Ben.